discussing about the built-in potential in using forward bias and the reverse bias, V naught plus PF and V naught minus PF, and the diagram was there.
Okay, all
After
right.
derivation.
All right, all right. Thank you, thank you. We will go to proceed to the topic. Let me show you what my notes material. So later on, you can decide where we have stopped. And I hope you can see my computer screen.
Yes, sir.
In fact, see, you should thank Google because this platform is because of Google. We are all using it at free of cost. Many times, I appreciate the Google for providing this platform for the country like India. So this is very good platform, and see if this is a paid huge cost, we would have paid to Google. But anyway, it is free of cost. We have to appreciate the Google for providing a platform, this Google Meet platform. Okay, so let us see that today's class I am going to discuss on transition width. Hope this is the point topic where we have stopped last class. Okay, if you can recollect here. Is it this point, or shall we have we covered much more deeper in on this than
No,
this?
sir, that one only at equilibrium.
Okay. Okay, now let us see that this is the transition width. This equation we already discussed many times, right? What is W now? Whatever I ask you should answer now. What is W now? It's already told it is transition. What do you mean by transition width? Transition width. Look at this PN junction. This is what transition width, right? So you can see the one side we have here. What is that? On P side, what is the distance we call here? This point in a PN junction.
Minus XP.
Minus XP naught. This is the distance edge of a depletion region to the P side. This what is this point then?
Plus X naught.
It is
Percentage.
plus. Yes, you should see the sign plus Xn naught. Okay, naught means it is at equilibrium. Okay, so that means we are not applying any voltage between these two terminals. Okay, now this width, this total distance between minus xp naught here and this distance is nothing but W. Okay, whenever we use word W, we should see that it is the depletion width. And I told earlier that we are not bothering about length, right? Length is not at all a parameter because length is very small in a PN junction compared to the width. So width is very important because that is the parameter that changes when we apply some potential. Okay, now let us see on what factors does depletion width or transition width depends upon. So we know that this epsilon is a constant, V naught is inbuilt potential or built-in potential, and Q is electron charge. So these things are constant. Okay, so that you can't change. But V naught, when you this is also inbuilt potential. It depends on the doping. Okay, this is also constant. And look at this Na. Most of the parameters here are constant. They are not any designer dependent here. We'll see that how can we how this W can be varied by applying a voltage from the user side. Okay, other things like Na, Nd, these things you must be aware, notations. Na, what do we mean by Na? This Na. Na and we have here Nd term.
Concentration doping, sir.
Yes, this is Na is acceptor concentration. Okay, acceptor concentration, where they are located?
N side, sir. NA.
Na, look at properly.
NA is a P type, sir.
P side, P
P type.
side. Yes, Nd
P
is
side.
towards N side. So Na is towards P side, this is towards P side, and this is Nd is towards N side. So that's the sum of in the numerator you find Na plus Nd divided by Na into Nd product in the denominator. The whole function is now it is under the square root now. Okay, so you can say instead of using this half here, you can also write root here like this. Okay, I'm sorry, this something root like this you can write here. Okay, so in that case you can eliminate this. Okay, so this same equation you can see that here we have done some small modification. If you divide this split this sum into two different parts, this Na cancels and you get here 1 by Nd and 1 by Na. That's a change we have done here in this term. Now look at here again the next step here. This is what the equation we are already aware in module 2. Okay, so V naught, which is nothing but the built-in potential, is related to the Boltzmann constant K, temperature, charge, and both acceptor donor ion concentration along with intrinsic concentration Ni square. So this equation we will substitute in place of this V naught here. Okay, so this is the equation here. So if you substitute here in this place, you get this equation, okay, which we call here as equation 1. This equation 1 you should know, you should remember here, because other derivations are based on this equation 1 only. And this is the equation, for depletion width at equilibrium condition. Equilibrium means without applying any potential here. So you keep remembering this equation. Okay. Now let us see what happens to this. What will happen to this? V naught when we apply forward and reverse bias. Yesterday's class we discussed about this. What happens to the V naught, the barrier potential across the junction when forward bias is applied. So we need to replace V naught by V naught minus Vf for the forward bias condition, because barrier potential is decreased by the factor V naught minus Vf at the junction. So to obtain depletion width for the forward bias condition, just replace in this equation. Here we have equation. In this equation you can replace with V naught as V naught minus Vf. So if you do that, you can see here we have a new W for forward bias condition now. For forward bias, width is equivalent to 2 epsilon that we have kept as it is, but only change is here. You can see this is the only change. In place of V naught, now we have modified that to V naught minus Vf. That is a change we have done here, because net potential barrier decreased due to the forward bias voltage what we have applied. So this equation is valid for the forward bias condition. So therefore this represents width of the transition region under forward bias condition. And you have to always compare with equilibrium condition with the forward bias condition. This is equilibrium condition. A small modification what we have done here by substituting for V naught, that's all. Okay. So this is the depletion width under of the transition region under forward bias condition. Similarly, we can also obtain depletion edge of a depletion region to the P side, which is xp naught, under both equilibrium condition as well as forward bias condition here. You can observe these two equations here. So xp naught is nothing but this is edge of a depletion region, edge of depletion region towards or towards P side. Okay, we'll also do for N side also. This is what xp naught shows. So now we can we already know this basic equation under equilibrium. So we are here using the equilibrium equations and we are substituting for V naught. That's the only modification we are doing here. So for forward bias condition, you can substitute V naught as V naught minus Vf. The new modified edge of a depletion region towards P side is now given by 2 epsilon, and you can see the change what we have done here. In place of V naught, we have V naught minus Vf divided by Q as it is into Nd divided by Na into Na plus Nd whole term to the power of half. So you have to notice here we have replaced V naught by V naught minus Vf because of forward bias. This tells us forward bias decreases the barrier potential. Similar lines you can also take this xn naught equation, that is edge of depletion region. So this is edge of depletion region towards N side, region towards N side. So this is at equilibrium condition. Okay, you can observe here. So for equilibrium condition, this is going to be the depletion edge of depletion region towards N side. And once you manipulate this, modify this with V naught, this V naught with V naught minus Vf, what you are seeing here. So the new equation for edge of a depletion region towards N side is this. So this equation also you need to remember here for forward bias condition. We have totally 3 equations now. One is W for the forward bias condition, which is here, equation 2, equation 3, equation 4. Okay. Now let us rewrite the same equation for reverse bias here. So reverse bias, you can see that the changes what you have done is it is V naught plus Vr. Now barrier potential we have seen in forward bias that decrease, but here in reverse bias the potential barrier keeps increasing. So there is a rise in the potential barrier. Therefore, majority carriers cannot move from N to P like electron, and holes cannot move from P to N. Only the electrons from on P side they can drift because of this potential barrier to the N side. And remember that the barrier, this Vp and Vr doesn't matter for the minority charge carriers, because they are drifting from electrons are drifting from P side to N side, holes are drifting from N side to P side. This voltage is not at all a problem for the reverse bias. We know that in reverse bias, the voltage, reverse voltage, is independent of the currents here. Okay, so that it doesn't. This is not a VR. Reverse voltage is not a function of reverse current. Okay, so that means if you vary this reverse voltage, this reverse current is not going to increase. It is independent. It only depends on temperature. That's all. So this is a reverse bias condition, reverse bias voltage. We are substituted here, so we get depletion width for reverse bias here. Similar lines, we can write equation for xp naught and as well as xn naught. So look at here, this is xp naught equation, we have changed it to v naught plus vr, and xn naught equation we have changed it to v naught plus vr here. Okay, so these equations also you need to remember for reverse bias conditions. So these equations are useful in solving the problems. So mind it, this you make a list of all formulas related to this module 2 at the end of your notes. Now let us see that height of electron energy barrier. The separation of the energy bands is direct function of the electrostatic potential barrier at the junction. Okay, so the height of the electron energy barrier is given by, for forward bias it is height of the electron energy barrier is this, so which is q times, see we have to multiply with q for the potential barrier. That means you are representing equation the potential barrier in terms of electron volt. So q times v naught minus vf, that is the potential barrier in electron volt under forward bias condition. Q times v naught plus vr is the potential barrier in electron volt under the reverse bias condition here. Now let us have a look at the Fermi levels. What will happen to the Fermi levels? Though we have explained in the last class, the Fermi levels will get splitted under forward and reverse bias conditions here. Let us observe these things here. So Fermi level is nothing but under equilibrium condition, it is a straight line. It is a straight line, Fermi level. So Fermi level is deep inside the neutral region, is essentially an equilibrium value. It will be the mid actually. Okay, if you look at the energy bands from p side to n side, it will be something like this. If you have a energy bands, the Fermi level will be something like this. It will be running a straight line under equilibrium condition. Okay, now let us look into the forward bias condition. Okay, so under bias, Fermi level separates on either side. So the Fermi level will get splitted, okay, because of type of bias what we apply. Depends on type of bias. Let us see for forward bias how exactly Fermi level will move. So EFN, look at this notation here. EF represents Fermi level and N represents here Fermi level on the N side. So Fermi level on the N side is above Fermi level on the P side when we apply forward bias condition. Okay, and how much amount? It is by the amount Q times Vf. So Vf is nothing but the applied voltage. By this product, that much amount of the terms, this these two will get separate. So Fermi level on N side is above Fermi level on the P side. That means Fermi level on P side is lowered by this much Q times Vf amount. So that's the notation we have expanded here. Fermi level on N side is EFN, Fermi level on P side is EFP. To understand this more about this, you can have a look at this slide, so that you get an idea under forward bias conditions. Are you observing those things what I said now? Look at now, Fermi level on this is Fermi level on N side, this is dotted line, this is the Fermi level on the P side. Fermi level on N side is larger, higher, at a greater height compared to the Fermi level on the P side. How much they have splitted here? By Q times Vf. This distance is nothing but Q times Vf, what I am showing here. That much amount this gets splitted. Okay, and this split get decreased once you apply the increase the potential barrier here. Okay, but at equilibrium you can observe there is a constant line which is moving from P to N. Okay, so that's what this point tells you. Reverse bias, EFP is higher than EFN. It's a quite reverse what you see with reference to forward bias here. By how much amount? It is again Q times VR. By this much amount, EFP is higher compared to the EFN. Okay, So EFP is higher, it will be something like this upper on the p side and it will be lower on the n side. This distance here between EF P and if I call this as EF N, this distance will be Q times VR. Okay, this is P side and this is going to be the N side. So Fermi levels in the two neutral regions, okay, so are separated by the energy electron volt numerically equal to the applied voltage, which is V. This keeps applied voltage keep changing depending on the type of bias. So same V here, what you are seeing here, that becomes that we have denoted as VF for forward bias and VR for reverse bias. Okay, now so far we have seen the voltages. Now let us have a look at the currents. So diffusion current is composed of majority carrier electrons on the N side surmounting the potential energy barrier to the diffuse to the P side and holes surmounting their barrier from P to N side. What do we mean by this? Again, you should have a look at this. Okay, this is what I am trying to explain. Look at this point, it is highly relevant to this diagram now. Okay, so the diffusion current now, because of the forward bias, the potential barrier has been lowered. So there is a diffusion of current. Diffusion current starts flowing. Okay, so diffusion current starts flowing here. So this is what we have shown here. Diffusion current, which is composed of majority carriers. Majority carriers on N side is electron, on P side it is holes. On N side, electrons will be surmounting potential energy barrier to the P side. That means electrons keep moving from N side to P side. Holes will start surmounting. Okay, they cross the barrier because barrier has been now lowered. Surmounting means it's a just making an attempt to pass that barrier. Okay, from P to N. So this is what it is relevant to this diagram here. You can see here. Okay, so I think this is the diagram. So here this so potential barrier has been lowered here. Now this electrons can easily surmount from N side to P side. Holes can surmount this potential barrier has been lowered here. So holes can surmount from P side to N side here. That means in this forward bias condition, diffusion of charge carriers is happening here, and obviously direction of current will be the direction of holes. So it will be from P to N. So majority carrier current flows from P to N. Okay. Okay. So with forward bias, the barrier is lowered. That is what we said, V naught minus V. Have many more electrons in the N side conduction. In the N side conduction band have sufficient energy to diffuse from N to P over the small barrier. So barrier is now it is very small. Therefore, the electron diffusion current can be quite large with the forward bias. Okay, so in the forward bias condition, the diffusion current is going to be very large compared to the other current here. Okay, that's in forward bias conditions. Now let us have a look at the for the holes. More holes now can diffuse from P side to N side. Again, there is a lower potential. Whatever we have said with reference to N side is applicable to P side as well. Under forward bias condition, because of the lowered barrier. Okay, so this is also applicable for P side. So that makes the holes to diffuse from P to N here. So now let us see the what happens when the reverse bias is applied. When the reverse bias becomes very large, now potential barrier that increase, which is V naught plus VR, that virtually no electrons on the N side conduction band or holes on the P side valence band, they have got enough energy to surmount it now. Now look at this diagram here with reverse bias. Let us see what will happen to the barrier now. So definitely barrier will increase. You can see that here. Now electron doesn't have sufficient energy to surmount this big barrier in the reverse bias, because now amount of barrier is Q times V naught plus VR on the N side. Same amount you will have at the P side also. It is this height is nothing but it is Q times V naught plus VR. Now these holes which are majority charge carrier on the P side, they doesn't have sufficient energy to cross this very big barrier now. Electron doesn't have sufficient energy to cross this barrier now. However, the electrons here, minority charge carriers on the P side, electrons, they can surmount easily due to the drift here, due to the electric field, whatever it is applied or inbuilt here. Obviously, the applied electric field is from N to P. Inbuilt electric field is also from N to P. This electric field established here because of built-in and applied, that will make the charge carriers, minority charge carriers, which is electrons on the P side, holes on the N side, they can move easily here. Okay. And also the voltage, this q is q times v naught plus vr is nothing to do with this minority carriers here. Okay, this can lower the barrier, that's all. This can increase the barrier, but that is advantage for the minority charge carriers. So therefore, why the current is less in reverse bias? Reason is minority charge carriers, first of all, they are less in number, electrons on the p side, holes on the n side. So therefore, the drift cannot create large current, that means large electron from n side, p side to n side, or holes from n side to p side here. Therefore this current, the electron current or hole current from n to p, that is independent of this voltage, reverse voltage what we applied. Okay, when you keep increasing the voltage, this you may decrease or increase, but this electron movement from p to n or hole movement from n to p, that is always constant. Okay, so that drift will happen, that will keep attracting minority charge carriers on either side. This is what you are seeing here. You can see minority carriers are moving now. They are drifted by the electric field established at the junction, and holes from on the n side, they get drift to the p side from the n side here. Okay, so those things are explained here. You can go through all these points here. Therefore diffusion current is usually negligible in case of reverse bias. Okay, because as I told you already, this carriers cannot diffuse to the p side. These majority holes cannot diffuse to the n side. So therefore the diffusion current is absolutely zero in this the reverse bias condition here. Okay, so electrons and holes drift currents at the junction are independent of the applied voltage. This already I told you, this doesn't depend on the reverse voltage, the amount of reverse voltage what you apply. The drift current is relatively insensitive to the height of the potential barrier. It doesn't depend on what height the potential barrier is. It is independent of that. Electrons drift from p to n side. So electrons are the minority carriers on the p side, they get drift from p to n side. That give rise to electron component of the drift current here. So this is we will get here electron component of the drift current. This current is very small since the current is due to the minority carriers here. Okay, so drift current depends on the electrons and hole numbers. It doesn't depend on the speed of electron. This is also important point here. The drift current flowing in the reverse bias, it depends on the number of electrons, number of holes, electrons on the p side, holes on the n side. Since they are minority here, therefore less current will result. So the total magnitude of current depends on the number of electrons and holes. It doesn't depend on the speed of electron or hole. The supply of minority carriers on each side of the junction required to participate in the drift component of the current is generated by thermal excitation of electron hole pairs. These, the minority carriers are generated by this thermal excitation, and that's a process, generation for minority carriers in this electron hole pair due to thermal excitation here. So these electron hole pairs, they get a drift from n side to p side, that is hole, and electron from p side to n side. Okay, that provides minority electrons in the p material. That means, see, as I was telling here, the electrons keep moving from p side to n side. There must be some the mechanism here to generate these electrons. So the mechanism here for generation of electron is EHP, and EHP is because of thermal excitation here. So electrons get thermally excited, and they keep moving into the conduction band, and again the drift the electric field attracts these electrons from p side to the n side. Okay. Okay. The resulting current due to the drift of generated carriers is called as generation current now, because of your the minority electrons are generated on p side, and that current is called a generation current here, which we label this as with I naught. Okay, the total current now across a junction is composed of now some of the two things. Even though the diffusion current is very small, so that also should be considered while calculating total current. So total current flowing in the p-n junction is both diffusion current and as well as the drift current here. Okay, so electron and hole diffusion current flow from p to n side, although the practical flow of directions are opposite to each other. So drift current is from n to p side here. We'll see all those directions of current in the coming diagram here, in the upcoming diagram. So the net current crossing the junction is zero at equilibrium conditions. At equilibrium, we don't apply any potential. The both will cancel each other, the diffusion current and as well as the drift current. Okay, both cancels each other, and total net current at equilibrium condition is going to be zero. So So this is what this equation tells you. I drift, I diffusion, that is going to be equal to 0 under equilibrium condition. Equilibrium means we are not applying any potential. So no potential applied. So under reverse bias conditions, let us see that both diffusion components are negligible here, since diffusion current is due to the majority carrier, that is going to be very small. So because that it will have a huge barrier, so that can be neglected because of large barrier at the junction, and is essentially large voltage independent. So because of these parameters here, the diffusion current component under reverse bias can be neglected. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, so we have come to an end of this topic. Let's see that the few equations we have left out with. Let me cover up those equations. We used here notation called as I generation current. We already coined this term earlier. Now let us see that the definition of this. The current flowing in PN junction diode for negative voltage, that is the drift current, is called as I generation here. Okay, that's due to the reverse bias here. So this can also be called as I diffusion, which is there is another current called as I diffusion, which is very small. Okay, so this is a diffusion current. So total current in a PN junction under reverse bias condition is I difference, plus I diffusion, actually not difference, it is diffusion minus I generation. So total current, when supply voltage is 0, total current also becomes 0 here. Okay, so I generation will be equal to I diffusion, okay, under equilibrium conditions. So this is actually the current equation under the PN for the PN junction. This is a very popular equation, you might have seen in basic electronics also. So the current I is now depends on the minority current, which is nothing but a current that is flowing in the reverse direction, and e to the power of q v by kt minus 1. This is the diode current equation which you already studied. And here you can notice that V is present in the denominator, and under forward bias condition, this V is if it is positive, so there is a current, this quantity will be very large, okay, for any positive values of V here. Okay, Q times V by KT. Okay, K is called Boltzmann constant, T is going to be the temperature. Okay, so this when V is positive, this will be current, exponential current flows. When V is negative, very very small current flows. This is I becomes very small, negligibly very small. Okay, and we'll see that analysis in the coming the points. When this V is equal to Vf, that means this equation is applicable for both forward and reverse bias. Here in the numerator term, if you change V as Vf, that becomes this equation is now becomes for forward bias conditions. And when you compare this quantity with 1 here, this 1 can be neglected here. So the net or simplified equation for under forward bias is this. Okay. Under reverse bias now, when the same equation, if you substitute V as minus Vr, you can see here what you get it here. This quantity becomes very small. So this becomes this in the same equation we're using for both forward and reverse bias. When V is equal to Vf, this first term becomes larger. This term, whatever I've underlined here, that becomes large. This 1 becomes negligible. That's what we have showed here. When we apply reverse bias, the first term becomes negligible. This 1 becomes the large value. So this I becomes equal to minus I generation. So if you put a modulus here, that can be denoted as I generation here. Now total current now is sum of both forward and reverse bias, or it gets a diffusion and drift currents here. So that can be summed up together if you add up these two things together, and if you take out I naught as a common factor, so you get the total current flowing in the PN junction as e power qV by kt minus 1. So the total voltage, applied voltage V can be positive or negative, and accordingly we can do these changes here. Okay, kt by q, you have to remember this value also. This sometimes we can make it as a shortcut as 25 approximately millivolt. This is the value of kt by q. If you cannot remember k value, T at room temperature, and q value, if you instead of taking the product and divide by the value of charge, you can also remember this value equivalent to 25 millivolt at room temperature here. Okay, this is useful in solving the problems. Okay, so now if you substitute V as Vf, forward bias condition, this becomes large quantity. The net current flowing in the forward bias is this, I is equal to I naught into e to the power of qVf by kt. Since this first term is going to be very large, the 1 can be neglected here. So under reverse bias, the exponential term becomes very small, that can be neglected, and I becomes equal to minus I naught here. And we have here diode characteristics. You can see here, this is the reverse current, which is, as I told you, which is a constant current till you get breakdown here. You will have a constant current. This is due to the minority carriers here. But look at here, when the forward bias condition, this is an exponential current. Whatever equation you have seen here, this is the first component that results in this curve. Okay, I diffusion. The second component what you are seeing is, this is I generation under reverse bias condition, or I naught. If you take since it is negative, it falls in the third quadrant here. Since in forward bias V is positive, the exponential current keeps increasing once you cross this threshold. So this threshold is usually 0.7 volts for silicon diode. Okay, 0.3 for germanium diode. This characteristics is called as current voltage characteristics of PN junction here. So from this we can easily understand, how exactly the current flows in the PN junction under forward bias condition. This is first quadrant is forward bias condition. The second quadrant is reverse bias conditions. The magnitude here may not be same. We go here with increments of 0.1, 0.2, say up to 5 volts. You can vary. Okay, so that may be too huge value. You can also go up to 1 volts. That is better, instead of taking readings up to 5 volts here. Just here our understanding is to check the cut-in voltage here, where the conduction starts and how exactly current flows here. Beyond that, current will go in exponential manner. But in reverse bias, you can see that current is almost a constant here. This value here, the height of this or magnitude of this current is equal to I generation here. So till breakdown happens, this current is maintained constant, and once junction breaks down because of a Zener or avalanche breakdown, a large current will surge something like this. Okay, so device will get breakdown because of different phenomena like avalanche or Zener breakdown here. Okay, so let me show this. These are the three things which we need to understand here. Let me rotate this. Rotation is a bit difficult in this. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or doubts, you can ask me. So let it take its time. Attendance I will pass on to you via WhatsApp group. You can enter your attendance over there because of time crunch. Okay, it is taking a lot of time. Okay. Okay, if that takes time, let me move to the. Okay. I don't know why this rotation is creating problem here. I think let me open my email so that I have a material over there. I will many times I keep showing this, it creates a problem. Okay, so I think it is getting time. Let me move to this slide itself. I don't know, sometimes it get hangs up because of internet connectivity problem. Just close this. This is what diode equation we were discussing in the under forward bias and the reverse bias condition. Here there is a notations, you can go through this notation. These are notations are important uh, from because instead of this remembering notations is far better. Okay, you can see that various notations have been showed here. These notations will keep using even in upcoming classes also. Okay, let me take this is the diagram here. You can see now all together the current flow at a junction. This is a qualitative description. The first column indicates it is under equilibrium condition. The second column is under forward bias condition. Third column is going to be reverse bias condition. The first row shows you the PN junction conditions to set up an equilibrium condition, forward and reverse bias conditions. In equilibrium conditions, applied voltage is 0. As you can see, we have kept open circuit, and so under this you can see the potential graph here, built-in potential. So it is the amount of built-in potential under equilibrium condition is V naught, and the energy bands you can look at here. The Fermi level is straight line, and due to the inbuilt potential barrier, the height of this barrier is now in terms of electron volt, it is Q times P naught. Fermi level is a straight line. On the P side we have ECP, conduction band energy level, EVP, valence band energy level, Fermi level EFP. Conversely, you can see on the N side we have ECN, conduction band energy level on N side, Fermi level on N side, valence band energy level on the N side. And observation what you want to make here is forward bias. When we apply same PN junction with forward bias voltage, you can see the electric field here, electric field, inbuilt electric field, now it is decreased because of applied electric field is play an opposite role here. So you can see the length also is matters a lot here. If you indicate with longer length here, that means field is more. Now you can see here we are shown with small length here, that means inbuilt field has decreased due to the applied field is more. Okay, it is acting from P to N, applied field. And field decreases, net field at the junction decreases, that decreases potential barrier. You can see V naught minus Vf is the potential barrier. Comparatively, when you look at relatively to the equilibrium condition, the PN junction barrier has been decreased, and Fermi levels has been splitted here by the amount of the applied voltage. The height of the barrier you can see Q times V naught minus Vf, and this causes majority carrier current flow. The current directions are shown here. We will come back to that little later. Reverse bias condition, when V is equal to minus Vr, the potential has been changed here. You can observe here the depletion width has been widened here, and in this case it is very narrow because of electric field and applied electric field and inbuilt electric field both are acting in the same direction. So net field is more in this case. So that causes more potential barrier. It's V naught plus Vr. The height of the barrier potential has been increased, and now majority carriers cannot move from the N to P electron, holes from P to N. So therefore the minority carrier movement will take place in this case here. Now before I stop today's class, I just want to look at this diagrams here. There are totally 3 boxes here. Each box is applicable to equilibrium, forward bias and reverse bias, and here the arrow mark shows the directions of current here. This part we already discussed in module 1, okay, under equilibrium condition. So this now you need to identify here this. We know that the thick line indicates it's for hole. Okay, this is for hole representation, and if you show with the dotted lines like this, that is for electron representation. And now you need to tell me in upcoming class whether this is first row in all these 3 boxes is for diffusion or drift. Okay, those things you just point out and come in the next class. Even number 2 here, this is for equilibrium condition, forward bias condition, and this is going to be reverse bias condition. I just want to know this is whether this is a diffusion or drift. Okay, and first here within the box itself, the first column indicates it's a particle flow. Particle flow means it's electron or hole, depending on the indication what we have shown here. Thick line is again hole, these are electrons here. And next to the box you can see there is a current flow here. Current flow because of the holes here. Okay, but only thing is you need to make a distinction between diffusion and drift current here. And already it is stated here, you can see that I need not tell, hole diffusion is happening. The first one indicates hole diffusion. Hole diffusion current is the second box here. Similarly, you can see here in the under forward bias condition, holes are diffusing from P to N. Hole diffusion current flows from P to N. And you can look at in the reverse bias condition, diffusion current is very less. So now you can see hole diffusion is less, hole diffusion current is also less. The length tells you the magnitude of current. Likewise, you can also analyze this second here. This indicates hole drift current, which flows from N to P because of electric field. Hole drift, actually this is hole drift current here. Under forward bias, hole drift current is medium range, and in the reverse bias is also same because this is due to the minority carriers. Okay, and last two columns, two rows indicates electron diffusion under different conditions, electron drift. I think with that we will stop it at this point. Next class we will start discussing on carrier injection, okay, under reverse bias conditions here. So that will give you more details on the PN junction, the bias, how exactly carriers get injected under the reverse bias conditions. So I think with that we need to stop at this point. Time is running out, and let us discuss next class with carrier injection. So thank you all for